So then, we are back with the more understanding from the time of the Second Tabernacle services, where we find in the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation comes from the original manuscripts of the prophets of the Israelic lineage. So then we can understand the time of the end, per Yeshayahu the prophet. We find in the 61st chapter, where the first section of this chapter explains then the Messiah completing the spring feast, and the second section then the autumn feast. When the Messiah was found then in the Holy Tabernacle, he was reading a section of the prophet Yeshayahu related with himself came then to enlighten those that were then hungry for more of the instructions. The second section relates with the autumn feast, where was the time of vengeance, and he did not read this section. Since we understand the cities of the Messiah then are returning, then we find ourselves during the time where then the angel spoke with Daniel regarding then the end of the time of deceit of 1,000 years, and then a peak of knowledge, and then starting of the time of the dragon. So then, during this time, we find ourselves understanding then chapter 11 of Daniel, where then we find the kingdom of the north, Soviet Union, kingdom of the east, China being the factory of the world, and we find the kingdom of the south, Africa, yet birthing. So then, the angel was explaining then section of this understanding of the kingdom of the north with the relationship with the kingdom of the south. However, there is not much understanding from the kingdom of the east from the standard selected Megillas of Daniel, but we find the extra writings on the Apocrypha related with the dragon and Baal. These are the understandings of the Babylonian mixing of religion with the dragon. Time of the dragon is then we find ourselves after 2009, started then the time of restoration of the holy cities of the Messiah. Obviously, we have to understand the dragon linked with Chinese dragon related with the level of Gentiles concerning trade. Daniel was a tradesperson. Most of the world, they are not related with direct trade as far as this particular instance. We find religion mixed with people, but a particular nation related with the world's market as a factory. So let's understand then, from this viewpoint, understanding that this market of the Asian countries, or the market of China, must not be disturbed. So let's then evaluate the situation from a regional perspective of the scripture. Not talking about an area of Greco-Roman junky translation with a Messiah outside of tabernacling. That's the false Messiah. That's why our country has so many pastors, so many teachers, so many evangelists, and we are on the brink of destruction. And Shaliach Shaul was specific. 2 Corinthians 11:4. If any person comes to you and teaches you, shows you another Messiah outside of the Holy of Holies, outside of the understanding of tabernacling, because Shaliach Shaul was during a time of a transition from the first tabernacle service and the second tabernacle services. You find Corinthians in the midst of a transition. Tabernacling was not established yet, but there were people concocting a Messiah of their own. And Shaliach Shaul was specific. If any person teaches you another Messiah not related with what the Messiah himself said, whatsoever Moses told you to do and observe, these do and observe. Then understand, because of the rejection of the Messiah, they were believing another kind of Messiah. So they were deceived. And our country is replete with these scoundrels. And that's why we find ourselves then not understanding the intricacies of the stabilization of the Asian market. There won't be any war in North Korea. Try to understand. North Korea is an Asian country. They're never going to start a war being neighbors of China. The scripture is specific. Time of the dragon, Chinese system, where then the Asian market must not be disturbed. The prophecy ends in 7032. But then the U.S. does not understand what it means. They were concocted of a theory of a Messiah that does not exist. So then, from this perspective, since North Korea is neighbor of China, do you think they're going to release an atomic bomb and then cloud the Chinese factory of the planet with nuclear debris? Nuclear waste from a bomb. Do you think the Asian country of North Korea, receiving 70% of help from China, do you think they're going to release a bomb near China? It shows the lack of understanding of the U.S. as far as the scripture is concerned. Then you find the Secretary of State wasting time, try to make up stories over there because we have no aim as a country. So let's try to understand the Israelic lineage and then the true scripture, not the Greco-Roman. The Greco-Romans, they have brought ruin for themselves. But we have a chance of finding out from the original manuscripts what it means the time of restoration and then autumn feast. Maybe we understand what it means the false prophet when it relates with the United States. So from this perspective, let's be sure then, when the time comes, we must understand our economy in instant taxation system. Because of these crazy scoundrels from the scoundrelized scripture, Greco and Romans, a Messiah that does not exist. Our country is nearly ruined. They should have taught the people there is a system coming and we must have instant taxation system because of the volume of trade coming in the future. Now, then the false scripture has taught them there is a God somewhere that is going to take him out of the world by hand, not having tabernacling. And we don't understand the scripture were then mostly translated during the time of transition. The relationship of tabernacling in Gentiles is after Yohanan. So the country is doing the same thing and expecting another result. And then we find this ridiculous Secretary of State wasting time. How ridiculous. North Korea is not going to release a bomb. What they want is a relationship of lifting of sanctions. As far as a bomb is ridiculous. would be against the Asian market. And the Messiah is pointing the kingdom of the East. No, but the United States, they think they know best. With so many scoundrels of a scripture that does not exist. And there you are. You find wasting time, wasting money, going over there, speaking what else can they do if they are not going to release a bomb? But the U.S. has no aim, has no objective. And we can't use our military until the time comes. Tabernacling is not available yet. Tabernacling is in the land of Cush. Read the instructions. First, the tabernacle must be established in the land of Cush per Yeshayahu the prophet's instructions, where the returning of the cities of the Messiah then returns. Then the world lines up itself with the engine of the planet as far as the strait is concerned, kingdom of the north, south, and east. Then later comes the Chinese system available for every person. Then the world engages in trade. When the Messiah speaks to his people later, come out of them, my people, come out of the system and then resume your duties. There won't be a war. You must understand the steps of formation. We can't use our weapons to get our way anymore. Those were concocted during the time of deceit. We are no longer in the time of deceit. Rather than going over there and pick a fight with North Korea, we should lift the dissensions and make sure North Korea then is part of the Asian market. Then we should start taxing properly. Every time there is a label printed, must have description, price, and taxation.